You have also reviewed the McIntosh 8950, so I'm interested to hear what you're going to say about that now. A bit of a price difference, I would say.
Yeah, just a little bit. The McIntosh is yours for £12,450, which isn't much if you say it quickly.
Wow.
I mean, let's be honest, this is a tremendous amount of money. And the other thing is, it's one of those things which fundamentally divides opinion. You'll either be entirely on board with how the Macintosh looks, or you wouldn't want it anywhere near anywhere you lived. The thing is that people say it's a retro look. It's not. Macintosh products have always looked like this. They haven't changed. It's just everyone else has changed around them. The other thing I would say is that it is bizarrely, you can see lots of controls and dials, and the display seems incongruous. I will say, and I do mean this, it's one of the easiest products to use because you can see at a glance what it's doing at any given time. So there is a method to how it looks, but if you like, that's secondary to why it's expensive. In the review, I have covered the Macintosh uses a piece of equipment called an autoformer. There is neither the time nor the interest to go into exactly what that is. But the long and the short of it is you can connect anything short of 2 lengths of wet rope to this amplifier and it will drive them, and it will drive them entirely consistently. This means that you can choose your speakers with absolute impunity. And then once you've chosen your speakers with absolute impunity, you can connect I think 16 different things to the Macintosh. There are analog inputs, there are balanced analog inputs, there are digital inputs, there is an HDMI ARC connection for attaching your television. You can take USB from a computer or a streaming transport. There's a dedicated connection for attaching a Macintosh SACD transport. You think of it, they've attached it to the back of it. There are 2 phono stages. A separate moving magnet and a moving coil phono stage. They can both be selected independently of one another. This amplifier has every single connection you can possibly imagine. And then, because of those transformers and because of how they've set it up, everything that goes into the Macintosh ends up sounding pretty much exactly the same. Now, that's both good and bad, because if you are looking for something which absolutely preserves every last nuance of how your source equipment sounds, this is not the amplifier for you. If, however, you simply like the sound of the Macintosh and you wish to connect whatever you want to connect to it and have it all come out in a really consistent and utterly sort of benign way, this amplifier is extremely capable. There is a fly in the ointment. If you also look on the Sound Advice website, you'll see that I've reviewed another Macintosh amplifier because I'm a sucker for punishment. That's the 7200, and it's yours for just £10,000. The only difference really between these 2 amplifiers is that the bigger one, the 8950, has HDMI ARC and a better digital board, and it also has tone control, a 5-band tone control, which allows you to alter the behavior of a speaker in room more effectively. And the 7200 has neither of those things. If you don't need either of those things, the 7200 uses exactly the same amplifier. It sounds pretty much exactly the same. So if you're happy with how your speakers are performing in room and you're not looking to attach to television, or you have decent digital sources elsewhere, that could arguably be the better value. I mean, value is subjective at £10,000, but it would nevertheless be a way of saving £2,500, and you'd still end up with a tremendously impressive amplifier. But like the Rotel, but bigger and on steroids, the Macintosh is so much of a system, if you need it to be, that the way you're budgeting for it, it still doesn't require much in the way of additional electronics expenditure unless you specifically want to spend out on those electronics. It's not a requirement otherwise. So it's a lot of money, but it's not the same as it perhaps £12,500 would have been even 10 years ago, where you'd still be looking at source equipment on top of that, because it's the way these amplifiers have been built has changed.
Ed, thank you very much. Now, of course, in the interest of health and safety, I do have to point out that we at Sound Advice don't recommend you attach 2 pieces of wet rope to any of your electronic devices
No, that's fair.
in the house. However, we got the gist of what you were trying to say, and I am glad that you are utterly delighted with all the Macintoshes that you have tried out.